All right. Exodus 23:5. Let's start in 4. If thou meet thine enemy's ox or his ass going astray, thou shalt surely bring it back to him again. If thou see the ass of him that hateth thee lying under his burden, and wouldest forbear to help him, thou shalt surely help with him. So, like, this is about an enemy. It's about an enemy. It's saying that you shall surely help your enemy when you see him. Now, an enemy is a potent word if you actually think about it. Do you consider your Christian brothers or your Messianic brothers your enemies? Don't you both believe in Messiah? Aren't you supposed to be, regardless of what your theology is, you both believe that you are the bride of Mashiach, the bride of the Messiah? So then, I mean, apparently you're not enemies, because when everybody comes and starts slaughtering the Christians and the Messianic believers for being disciples of Yeshua, y'all are all going to die together. Just so you know. So, I mean, I'm not in any way, like, I'm not, condoning anything pagan. I'm not condoning, not reading your scripture and figuring it out. I'm just saying, like, we all love Christ, Yeshua. Like, we need to make this work better than we're doing now. I see a lot of arguing. I see a lot of fighting. And it's rough. Like, even in the Talmud, it states, if the animal of a friend requires unloading and an enemy's requires loading, you should first aid your enemy to suppress the Yetzer Hara, or the evil inclination that resides in all flesh. And that can be found in Baba Metzia 32b. So, and suppressing the Yetzer Hara is really what this is all about. It's your Yetzer Hara that makes you want to know more and like basically slap people around because they don't know like what you're talking about and laugh at people. Ha ha ha. Like, I see it all the time. And it's crazy. And I partook in some of that when I was younger and when I was coming to this understanding. And, I've repented from that. Made sure. And, definitely your flesh doesn't want to help your enemy before you help your friend. But you have to understand this is a deep concept. The reason it says to help your enemy first is because this will bless you in the future. By the Father, he will bless you for it, but also, like, your enemy's going to view you differently. So even if you view your Christian brothers as enemies, which I really hope that you don't, if you treat them a certain way, it will open them up to you. Either side. And then you'll be able to reason together. Why did Paul, he talked about the Bereans and praised them? Because even though they accepted what he said about Messiah, wholeheartedly, they still search the scriptures every day to make sure that what he was saying was perfectly in line with the scripture. And that's what we should be. We should be Bereans. A lot of people say, oh, I don't have time. You better make time, because you're going to be standing in front of the Father saying, I didn't have time. I was too busy with work. I got 2 kids, homework. I like to watch my soap operas. Baruch Hashem, And to my Torah keepers out there that consider it almost blasphemous to speak against the Torah, just so you know, like, to assault, verbally assault, isolate yourself from, refuse to pray for any of the believers in Messiah that you see talking bad about the Torah, telling people to leave the Torah alone and it's dangerous and everything, to isolate yourself from them, or to verbally bash them or talk bad behind their back. That's a big one. This is in fact breaking Torah. So, 1 Peter 3:8 says, Finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassion one for another. Love as brethren. Be pitiful and be courteous, not rendering evil for evil or railing for railing, but contrariwise blessing, knowing that ye are thereunto called, that ye should inherit a blessing. It's deep stuff when you really get into it. 1 Peter 4:8, and above all things, have fervent love or charity among yourselves, for love or charity shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. That's a tough one for us, you know? So what does it mean that love covers a multitude of sins? If we understand that sin is transgression of the law. For example, if you break a commandment for your brother's sake out of love, okay, the sin of breaking that commandment is covered by the love for your brother. I hope that makes sense. I mean, I'm talking about, you know, I mean, for example, like Yeshua healing on the Sabbath. But really he said that it's lawful to do good on the Sabbath. But I feel like that falls into this category. Like breaking a commandment to save your brother is lawful. Like, even though you broke the commandment, the love covers that sin. So there is no, you know, broken mitzvah. Because you upheld a higher mitzvah to love your neighbor as yourself, if that makes sense. So it's Torah. It's actually Torah. You know, if you have to break a mitzvah to help your brother or save your brother or whatever the case may be. That the Torah, and this is another way you can view the whole not under the law thing. A man is not under the law. Man is above the law. Like, in other words, if you have to break this mitzvah for your brother, do it. And that is Torah. That's not breaking Torah. So, you know, that's another deep study that we could get into, because it's actually really deep. Okay. Because the whole law rests on this, that you love your neighbor as yourself. Amen. So what do we find is the very foundation of the scriptures that we hold so dear? None other than Ahava. The first greatest commandment, according to our rabbi, is that you love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your mind, and all your strength. And the second greatest mitzvah is to love your neighbor as yourself. And then it helps if you have an understanding of the etymology of the word. Ahava, like I said in the beginning, is a verb. It's an action word. It is not an emotion. So then I ask you, is it possible to love someone that you don't feel wonderful, warm feelings towards? To say that you can't is actually saying that our King Rabbi Mashiach gave us a commandment that we cannot keep. For he said to love your enemies. Remember, this is an action word. This is not, I love you so much. This is, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to do this for you. This is how I'm showing you that I love you. It's not saying it per se. It's doing it. It's a very, very deep concept. So I hope that this blessed you. This is actually during the Moed of Sukkot, 2015, or 5776 on the Jewish calendar. 5776 And, you know, during these high holy days, I hope that, and really any day, during any day, I hope that we can do some serious self-examination and, you know, continue to grow in Messiah and to continue to grow in oneness with one another and be echad as He and the Father are echad. So Baruch Hashem, I hope that these little videos find you well, and I hope that I could help. So Laila Tov Mishpacha.